Hi there, everyone. This is Sean from the Warped Ones coming with a new video to give something a little bit different today. We're not doing a back rep. You're not going to see my face. You're not going to see my poorly painted or unpainted models. What you are going to see is some leaks coming at you from various sources. A little bit different, like I said, but I thought what I'm going to do is I kind of spotted some of these online and I thought I would whack them in a little video and show you some of the potential Imperial Knights leaks. Being an Imperial Knights player means that I have a vested interest in this, and the rest of the guys have a vested interest in it not being true because actually some of it looks quite tasty and they don't like playing against it. But anyway, I thought I'd give you a little taster. Obviously, these are just general leaks that I've found online. It could be a load of rubbish. It could be true. Who knows? I don't. Would like to see it be true. It seems relatively believable, but that doesn't mean anything really in the world of 40k. G Dubs could quite happily go, nope, don't fancy doing that. So take it with a pinch of salt. If it's not true, then you can all be as disappointed as I will be, because I think there is some quite tasty, fun things in there that we could that could be quite good for us Knights players. So just a quick one. Army rule stays the same. All right, we still get Noble Lance. Noble Lance is great in my opinion. A 6-up Feel No Pain is beastly on a 20 kind of 2 or 25 wound model. I really like running kind of lancers and things that kind of aren't run as often. A 6-up Feel No Pain after a 4+ invuln makes that 25 wound model feel like a 30 wound model, which is just tough to chew through. As well as that, it's currently saying that you get the reroll hit, wound, or damage. Key point there is saying it's or damage, or wound, or hit. So one hit reroll, one wound reroll, or one damage reroll, not all three of them. Currently, a little bit different. And the rerolls that we get at the moment are quite nice. So it does change it a little bit, but you know what? We can't have everything. Currently, the one at the moment is that you can reroll one hit roll and one wound roll as Lalo the Tyrant. It looks like they've got rid of the Lalo the Tyrant and the Reclaim the Realm. And they're just rolling that into, you get to choose a hit, a wound, or a damage roll. I really like re-rolling one hit and one wound because it's re-rolls. Everyone likes re-rolls. So the type change isn't so great, but the permanent 6-up Feel No Pain kind of really does make up for it. At the moment, though, just to note that with Noble Lance roughly staying the same as, or Coach or Varric turning into a bit like Noble Lance, I know Noble Lance is the detachment, so maybe they've renamed it. I'm not sure. Who knows? Anyone know anymore? Let me know. But you don't get the option of getting the 5-up Feel No Pain for killing their Warlord. All right, and the whole kind of oath and the Reclaim the Realm does seem to have gone, and nothing to do with the CP that I've seen either. So at the moment, it just looks like as an army rule, you get a 6-up Feel No Pain, pretty fucking good. And you get to re-roll one hit roll, one wound roll, or one damage roll. Meh, not quite as good, but a re-roll still a re-roll. We still like it. Okay, so although it says it stays the same at the top, it's not quite. Some key changes then that they're saying is Armiger's down to toughness 9, but your Questoris and your Dominus unchanged. Doesn't say anything about any other models. Okay, so none of the Forge World, the Cerastus or anything like that, but we can assume that if Cerastus roughly the same as toughness as a Questoris, let's assume that they're going to stay the same. A reduction on the big knights, always nice. I love running 3 big knights. It's not very good, but I do like it. But 10 to 20% is massive. 10% on a 450 point model is 45 points, takes it down to 405 points. That is huge. No changes on the armigers, and the slight difference on an invuln save. So armigers keeping their 5+ invuln against shooting, and then the Questoris Dominus, and again doesn't mention Cerastus at all, so we don't know, going to a 4+ invuln in shooting. A 4+ invuln on a toughness 12 model, with a 6-up feel no pain. Obviously is only in shooting, I know, but that is pretty huge. And when that toughness 12, 4-up invuln, 6-up feel no pain can then shoot you back because you've put yourself out to shoot, that is quite a tasty little thing. Bondsman abilities slightly changed, so they can hand out bondsman buffs to an armiger, and that just remains, okay, until you replace it. Currently, for example, the Lancer's bondsman buff is give advance and charge. So theoretically, if this is true, I can give advance and charge to a Warglaive, and it can just keep advance and charging on a 12-inch moving kind of thing. Model and chassis is quite nice. Okay, and then there's a different buff, a blessing for the Big Knight. What that blessing is, I'm not 100% sure, but a blessing instead of the bondsman ability is a nice thing to have. I quite liked the bondsman affecting the little knights and the big knights. I'm sure we all did, because again, that was just filth. Again, I used to advance and charge a lancer quite rapidly up the board. No one liked an advance and charging lancer coming at them. I can't say I blame them. It was big, it was scary, and it did a lot of damage, especially when tank shock was also filth. But a different blessing is always welcome. Anything that's buffing anything, I'm more than happy with, considering we don't get it at the moment. And I quite like this change to bondsman abilities, that you don't have to do it every command phase. It's kind of, because normally I would give out one buff, I've moved my models away from each other, okay, they're potentially not within range of giving the buffs out, so on and so forth. And especially by turn 3 or 4, I've got one Lancer, or I've got Canis, well, not Canis because he doesn't give out a bondsman, but I've got another Questoris up outside the field. The bondsman's just not really doing anything. So actually being able to give one out and it just stick until you decide to change it is quite a nice change. New model. We all love a new model. Knight Defender. It got leaked. Oh, well, I say it got leaked. It was shown on Warhammer Community. But it's in the name, a defending model with a shield generator instead of a missile rack on the top. Fine, quite nice. That sounds quite good. Leaked ability is to give basically an armor of contempt to everything within 9 inches. Nice. Reducing AP is always good, especially with a 3-up save. So that definitely does work. So reduce that AP. You're effectively giving everything a 2+ save, which is absolutely a good thing. Is it worth the amount of points that it's probably going to cost? Debatable. We'll have to play test that a little bit. And then its bondsman ability is to improve toughness by 1. Well, if they're dropping armiger toughness to 9, then improving that is nice. Toughness 9 is inherently more killable to things like Eldari Dark Reapers and things like that. You don't need the absolutely big shooting to start taking that down. Even crack missile launchers from Space Marines and stuff like that are going to then be wounding on 4s, which instead of 5s, mathematically, it's going to make a difference. Okay, so toughness 9 on the armigers is going to hurt. The amount that can get up to toughness 9 in melee, or strength 9 in melee, does go up. Okay, so improving toughness by 1 is quite a big thing. But also a blessing that is going to then go onto the defender. So like we just said, you give out a bondsman to an armiger, you get a blessing back, and -1 damage. Yeah, pretty good. Always like -1 damage. I've gone into enough -1 damage things that are a right pain in the backside to remove. Things like Deathwing Knights that are reducing damage, or Magnus that reduces damage. You start thinking that you can kill one with 1 shot, and actually, no, it's going to take 2. Definitely nice. Is it so important on a Questoris Knight? it's going to make it more survivable. But, you know, if it's a las cannon, it's d6 plus 1, you're still getting d6 shots. That could go from 2 to 1, that could go from 7 to 6, you know, which isn't going to make the biggest amount of difference in my opinion. But again, got to play test that and see what happens. A couple of different guns. You can take, well, you can't take them. They are just kind of the inbuilt plasma. 36-inch range, hitting on threes, D3 plus 3 shots, 822, standard plasma. Overcharge it for 933. Definitely nice. Taking out elite infantry, 3 damage, or pop most terminators in 1. That's what you kind of want that for. At the risk of a hazardous test, it's only 1 gun, so you're only rolling 1 dice. You've got a 1 in 6 chance of rolling a 1. And then a conversion beam obliterator. So sustained hit D3 and conversion 18. So I think that's on a, you know, it's on a 4 or something like that. Then it crits, so you're getting extra few hits there. Again, 3 shots, 14, 2, and 4 damage is quite nice. So strength 14 is hitting pretty big. AP 2, 9 times out of 10 that's going to be taken to AP 1 because of cover. Cover's so readily available in this edition. So 9 times out of 10 AP 1. Still taking 3 up saves to 4s and then 4 damage. You kind of get, with 3 shots, let's say you could get, you know, average out with the conversion if you're over 18, 5 or 6 going through, wounding on 2s and 3s. Generally, without any sort of modifiers. And, you know, 5 or 6 wounding on 2s and 3s, you're going to get kind of 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 shots go through. That could pop, you know, could pop some damage. 8 damage, 12 damage to something could pop a rhino quite easily. Not amazing. Not, you know, I'm not sitting here going that is absolutely incredible. But, you know, it's not bad. If the cost is fairly good, if we're looking, you know, with a reduction in points cost, if we're looking at the sub 400s, I can see that there's a place for that, for making everything a bit tougher. But I don't know whether that is quite a profile to make a difference in terms of what we can put out in shooting. Obviously, there's no melee profile to speak of at the moment, but we can just imagine that's just armored feet. 4 or 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, kind of strength 6, strength 8, the standard Questoris armored feet. Now let's have a little look at the juicy stuff. Some new detachments. I am a fan of detachments, and let's see what we've got. Defenders of the Realm, a bit like your Warpbane Task Force, your Canoptic Court, you kind of control a certain amount of area, you get a little buff. Deployment zone is protected. Dreaming, nice, like that. No Man's Land is if you control some objectives, nice. Okay, we're quite good at controlling objectives because of the high OC. If we've got a decent amount of armigers, we can run an armiger off, turn 1 potentially, control 2 or 3 2 or even 3 objectives in No Man's Land, and we can get +1 to hit. Okay, if you're on an objective there, you can get +1 to wound. Okay, not amazing. Okay, but if it's an armiger with their strength kind of 9 guns, strength 10 guns, whatever they are, strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage, aren't they, for an autocannon? That's quite nice. Okay, anything toughness 6, toughness 7, you're taking that to wounding on 2s. Anything toughness 10, 11, 12, you're wounding on 4s then with the +1 to wound and hitting on 2s. Can't really complain with that. Sticky objectives for an enhancement, nice. That's always useful to have on a fast-moving army like we are. Okay, you stick that onto a Lancer, you go in, you take that middle objective, you move off it, you've got an armiger on a No Man's Land objective, automatically you're controlling over half there. You're controlling more than your opponent can. You are then getting that +1 to hit. And then you're getting the +1 to wound if you're on the objective. Definitely a nice thing. Omniscient Conclave. This one I quite like. This is Blessings of the Machine God at the start of the battle. You get a blessing. You can either pick one or you can randomly roll a dice for 2. It's a bit like the Creations of Bile for Chaos Space Marines. Okay, you either get the nice, I've got one kind of game plan in mind and I need this, or you go, hey, let's roll some dice and see what happens. So you can either get +1 to hit in melee, +1 attack on strike, and +3 attacks on sweep, +1 strength on ranged weapons, +1 ballistic skill if you remain stationary, +1 movement, and +2 to the charge rolls. Key is that it's affecting all Imperial Knight models. I like this one quite a lot. Me being me, I would absolutely every single time roll 2 dice to try and get both. But you can, there's definitely some game plans there where you can pick one of those and you can build a game plan about that. I really like +2 to charge rolls, especially on fast moving armigers, the Warglaives 12-inch movement, and then making, reducing that charge down is always nice. Same thing, like I said, I always run a Lancer. I love running Lancers for that free tank shock and everything, as long as that doesn't change. Getting +2 to that charge, awesome. The other one I really like, +1 attack on the strike profile and 3 on the sweep, definitely nice. Again, Warglaives hitting a little bit more. I'm always underwhelmed of a Warglaives melee. It never really does as much as I really hope it would. So getting an extra attack is always nice. The sweep profile, 3 attacks, dreamy. For a CP, you can pick another one. Armigers, if you want to do it, then they take D3 mortal wounds at the end of the phase. Okay, that's fine. Kind of understandable. Remember, you still get that 6-up feel no pain. If you're really good at rolling dice, then you don't take a single wound. If you don't, maybe you take 1 or 2 wounds. If you're really bad like I am, maybe you take all 3. But even so, getting that +1 to hit in melee on a Warglaive, as well as having +1 attacks on the strike and sweep 3 on the sweep profile, that is going to start doing some damage. After that, we've got Free Blade Crusaders, which is you get to ignore all the modifiers if you damage, so no bracketing. Fine, that's pretty good. And if you're not within 6 inches of another friendly unit, you gain a 5-up feel no pain. Definitely a nice thing to have. We all like a 5-up feel no pain. That is going to be one that could be quite tasty. You start including that with defenders, okay? Because if we remember, that defender has a range of 9 inches, if it's true, obviously. So you can stay 7 inches, stay 9 inches within a defender. You get that reduction of AP. Then you get that 5-up feel no pain. We don't run a lot of models, so staying 6 inches away from each other isn't too difficult. It's a little bit like the Lines of the Emperor for Custodes. Get 6 inches away from something else and you get a little buff, and this one's going to keep you a bit more survivable. 5-up feel no pain can really be a pain in the backside for certain people and certain armies that are hitting you quite hard. 3 damage shots can quite easily become 1 damage shots. Something that's going to kill your knight can quite easily not, which is definitely useful. And then finally, Adamantium Host, Supernatural Pursuit. Set up reinforcements in the first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of mission rules. Nice. Let's put something in reserves, and let's just put it down turn 1. We want to just drop a Dominus down turn 1 to make sure we've got the line of sight on something that we want to kill. Okay, let's do it. In addition, you may arrive using the rules for strategic reserves as if the battle round were one higher than the current round. Oh, you went second, and they got first turn, and you want to just rapid ingress something. Oh, you can do that. That's a little bit cheeky. I'm going to rapid ingress my Lancer. Yeah, it's going to be 6 inches away, but then I'm going to run at you really quick. And an enhancement for deep strike and a strat for arriving within 6. Oh, so I can rapid ingress and I don't have to stay 6 inches from the edge. And I can just deep strike my Lancer straight in the middle of the board where you can't get to it turn 1, but I can get to you. That sounds like a little bit of tastiness. That sounds like something that is going to put the fear of God into your opponent. That is going to stop them from wanting to put something out early and stop them taking from objectives or anything like that. That's going to mean that you have those psychological mind games going straight away. Oh, if you've watched any of our videos, my favorite phrase in all of our phrases is at the end of your movement phase. We all know what's coming. We all know it's a rapid ingress. Well, imagine doing that with, I don't know, Canis Rex. And if he still does, maybe you do it for free. Or imagine doing that with a Lancer and deep striking it. I did make a spelling mistake. That says deep strike. It's obviously meant to say deep strike. There, I rushed to put this together because I wanted to get it out. Hopefully, you can forgive my errors. Couple of further thoughts. Yeah, Defenders of the Realm, good all-rounder playing objectives. +1 a wound may not be so important on our big guns. Okay, because a lot of our big guns are so strong that we could be wounding on 2s anyway. Excuse me. It does help to mitigate some of those modifiers. The Conclave, a little bit of everything. I really like the Conclave. That's personally looking at it. If that's the one that, if this is true, that's the one that I'm probably going to have a look at. +2 to charge, like I said, massive. All right, +1 ballistic skill. If you've got a shooty army, you drop a Dominus, you put one on an objective, and you go, right, come at me. My Plasma Decimators hitting on 2s. My Volcano Lance hitting on 2s. You want to stick something out? I am going to shoot you, and let's face it, I'm going to delete you. Free Blade Crusaders is the old Noble Lance detachment. Fresh coat of paint, and gives you a little bit of requirement. Nice. I think the 5+ Feel No Pain is really good. Spacing is a weakness, but actually I don't think that spacing is going to be too much of an issue. And finally, the last one, our Deep Striking Adamantium Hunt. Okay, turn 1, Deep Striking 6 inches. Utter filth. That is all it is. Mind games, strategic advantages, loads of different things. You can play into that so hard. You can start tricking your opponents. Oh, is that the end of your movement phase? When they say, oh God, you're going to rapid ingress, go, actually, no, I'm not. I'm just playing with you. Getting into their head. Always fun to do. Armigers, dropping an armiger. Easy. Okay. Turn 2, you can drop them into the board edges. Loads of different options. Turn 2, dropping into any board edge. If they want to push hard, you go, now I'm going to drop an armature into your deployment zone, and watch them go, oh dear, what am I going to do now? Just a few different thoughts. Like I said, this could all be a load of rubbish, or it could be something that seems relatively plausible, nothing too overpowered, but definitely some fun things there. I'm, for one, hoping at least some of them are true. I really like some of the detachments. I like some of the changes, and look forward to seeing what it is. If anyone has any further information, any of you Knights players have some thoughts, please let me know. Like I said, this is completely new territory for me, and for us at Warped Ones, we've not really done anything like this, but I thought I'd stick it out there, see what you think. Please let me know how it goes and how it all went, and if you kind of like it, then I can keep looking for those leaks and we can keep updating them. We've also got some things about other armies detachments and trying to delve in a little bit like that. So please give us a like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell anyone who's even mildly interested in 40k about us. Would help us to grow and be able to do this more and more and more. The day job is getting dull, and I would really, really love to play more Warhammer. Adios from me, and I shall see you next time.